Good evening to all of you, and welcome to the 14th Leadership Levers Lecture from TSW. And we have the pleasure of having Soma Maitra, who is currently the Vice President of Innovation and Incubation for grocery business at Reliance Retail, and where she drives strategic CXO projects for value format grocery business. And before this, she was also the chief of membership and community connect at small format stores at Future Retail. And she was also the SVP and national head agency channel agency channel at Star Union Dai-ichi Life Insurance. And before that, she was the chief national sales and franchise operations at Big Bazaar Future Group, and where she spent almost about 10 years, at a beautiful company called Tupperware Brands, where she was national sales head and also the head of L&T. And apart from her professional personal responsibility, she also takes social responsibility in a big way, where she champions the causes related to women empowerment, anti-domestic violence, as well as she takes a lot of interest and she personally mentors a lot of women leaders. And apart from this, she also is a volunteer for Oxfam International NGO, which fights to eradicate the poverty and illiteracy. And she is a graduate in BA in Hospitality and General Management from Robert Gordon University, Scotland. And she's also done her executive postgraduate program from business management from IIM Calcutta. And if you have seen her profile, her entire career can be actually mapped to the entire edifice of the retail. Whatever you think of in the retail side, maybe in the supply chain, maybe the logistics, or maybe customer centricity or customer experience, or the stores and store formats, and everything that you can think of in retailing, she has been part of it. And we are absolutely privileged to have her talking to us on a very interesting topic called demystifying offline and digital customer experience. And most importantly, what I've seen over the last few months, especially after the lockdown is eased out, she's on the roads most of the time, inquiring and checking with the customers or checking with the retail stores. And she's absolutely passionate retailer in that sense. So welcome to you, Soma Maitra, and wonderful to have you. Over to you, Soma.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chaudhary. Those were really kind words. I'm not sure if I've done so much, but thank you so much for being so kind. So without much ado, and I'm keeping a track of time, we will jump directly into the subject. And, I just thought that everybody here is a senior leader from the industry, and, we can, I will only try and share what I have learned over the years. Quick one. So demystifying offline and digital customer experience. Right into that with the trigger question. If we can move to the first slide, please. Yeah, the next. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I have a question for all of you, though I may not be able to see your responses, but I can kind of gauge them. What do you think is the current percentage of customers who use a digital medium to shop for groceries? And I'm talking about groceries just to, kind of bring in a point. And I am from that industry. So any guesses? How many people are really shopping? You can just leave a message for 10%, okay? Right? Less than 5%. Someone said 45%, very interesting. Someone said 30%. Okay, great. 15%. Great. Thank you so much. Thank you. 2%, 25%. Great. Another question. 10 years ago, what would you take as the percentage of customers who use digital medium to shop for groceries? 0%? 5%? 2%? 0%? Less than 2%, nil. Awesome, thank you. What if I say that 10 years ago, and mark my words, people using a digital medium to shop for groceries was as good as 35 to 40%. And you can ask me why, right? Just think about it. Just think about how our parents shop, or how do we shop? Even 10 years ago, what did we do? We would pick up the phone call our local mom and pop store or the Kirana store and place an order. And what would happen? In half an hour, a young boy would come in a cycle and deliver the products to us, right? So, and what is that medium? I mean, telephone is a medium of, placing an order through a digital medium, right? I mean, so we have been using digital medium for shopping forever, right? And this is something we need to completely demystify. We are not doing anything new. We are not doing anything crazy, but we have been ordering groceries online over a phone even 10 years ago through a phone medium, right? So if I can just demystify e-commerce, and this is purely my view, and just think about it a little deep sometime. What is e-commerce? If we, remove the textbook, definition of e-commerce, what is e-commerce, right? E-commerce is nothing but, when we say placing an order over a digital medium and a third party coming and delivering that to us at our home. That is exactly what e-commerce is, right? So that is what typically is e-commerce, using a digital medium where the products get delivered to us in the house, right? In some way or the other. And we've been doing it in different formats, in different ways for years today. And I would request you to believe this, because this is something that, we have noticed, and I think we need to go to what the core is instead of going and looking at just the true textbook terminologies of what it does for us. Can we move to the next slide, please? So if I can just take you over how shopping has evolved, and I think all of you know, I just want to quickly take you over that. It used to be over-the-counter shopping, which we still do. An empowered shopkeeper, think about it. There's a divide between a customer and a merchandise. I'd love to give this example often. Imagine in some kind of a tier 2 city, a lady of the house, going to a store to buy women hygiene products. And what you have this gentleman who's a shopkeeper who's standing between the merchandise and you have to request for that product from the shopkeeper. And the shopkeeper, comes and gives it to you and you take it back. So typically, that is how it all started. It is still available like that, but that is how, that is one of the ways in which we have been shopping. After that, what came in was modern trade, what we call self-service in different ways. What did that do? Modern trade allowed you to go pick up your merchandise from wherever it is on the shelf. So it took away that bridge. It became a bridge between the customer and the merchandise. So the gap was removed. And then what happened? The digital medium came in, right? And here I'm talking about the real digital medium where you go on an app and place an order and the product comes to you. What did that do? It took care of everything with self-service. You were not allowed to touch the product. You could see the product. You could not feel the product. It removed the time barrier and carried confidence. What did all this do for us? And don't think of these as this over-the-counter happened at a particular time, self-service is happening now, digital is also happening now. No. All of them coexist, peacefully coexist. And we will talk about it a little more later. So what has all this done? From that lady who was uncomfortable asking for a female hygiene product to that gentleman who was a shopkeeper to today where she can go online and purchase a product and comes home quietly packed, right? So what did it do? It brought in progress. It brought in a spectrum of choice, and it brought in empowerment for the customer. Moving the empowerment from the shopkeeper to the customer is possibly what this journey brought about. And this is all good. This is all progress. So where is e-commerce today? E-commerce is means of placing an order has changed. We are going digital. We are placing an order. It is certainly a leap in which we are placing orders, but it is not a replacement, and it will never be a replacement. So on a serious note, if we look at how much of grocery is bought on pure play e-commerce, and I'm not talking about digital medium, is still very, very less. It won't be post-COVID. It's possibly gone up to 5, 6, 7, 8%. But and I'm talking about pure play e-commerce. But we're still doing all of this. Just think about us as an individual in your home. Imagine what the behavior is. some of you sitting here who are millennials possibly are buying, just online, but you're not the largest customer. Largest customer is still the middle class Indian who has a family, right? A larger family, and where they buy groceries all the time. What do? They buy some products from the local kirana store. Then, sometimes they go to one of these self-service modern trade stores and go and buy, products. And then they sometimes want to buy that same product digitally. So that same human being is going across all of these kinds of channels to buy products. Can we move to the next slide, please? Another very important aspect and an interesting aspect apart from these three is that, we like to call India a DIFM economy. Can anyone tell me what does that mean? Anybody on the chat? Okay, so India is a do-it-for-me economy. India is not a do-it-myself economy, right? Think about it, even IKEA, when IKEA came into India, they had to ensure they had services where people would come and set up the furniture for them. Because we like, not just India, some parts of Asia as well, we like to be supported by someone. We like it when someone does something for us. We're used to that. Imagine even IRCTC, that is the biggest play of e-commerce, isn't that? Where, you can go book your tickets online. But do we know that about 85 to 90% of IRCTC tickets are booked by agents? It is not booked by us directly. So somebody else is doing an e-commerce, transaction for us. Imagine at the airport, when you're going in, you've got some of these counters where you can go get your own luggage tag. What do? We still have someone standing there helping us with the tag. A coffee counter, it's a counter where you can just go pull out your coffee and drink, but you still have someone standing there and doing that. So India is a do-it-for-me economy, and we have to be prudent and we have to understand this behavior when we are designing anything consumer. So, it is, and I have seen this across all my experiences, that unless and until we understand the journey of the customer, keeping ourselves as individuals aside, we are able to build a much better experience. So where are we today? We are in a situation, and a very interesting situation, where we can bring in best practices of, grocery stores, which is a kirana store run by an entrepreneur, the best practices of what modern trade does for us, and the best practices of the digital, space. And not just that, even bring in assisted space in all of this. Stringing in, what does it do? It just empowers a customer more and more. They can go shop anywhere, anytime. Right? So this to me is experience. This to me is where the new retail space is going. And I'd like to leave a trigger thought, for all of you here. What is Metaverse trying to do? It is trying to bring in the best of everything. Why aren't we sticking to just a digital platform of, maybe taking interviews, right? Because a digital platform always probably does not, help us in giving us the feel of everything else. How will this candidate work under pressure? So maybe Metaverse can do that. Similarly, in the this space, in the retail space, if we are able to create that environment, which is an amalgamation of all these aspects, maybe online, by making it more convenient, but giving us all the feeling, all the connectedness of offline, I think that is something where we are, moving to. Can we move ahead, please? So what does the empowered customer? Today, the customer is empowered. All of us know that, if we want to buy something at the best price, we know where to look, we know where to go, feel and touch. We know how it will come to us in, say, 30 minutes or in 2 days or whatever. So we're empowered. And we have a lot of choice, right? So across channels. So what do we really want? What does this customer really want? And here I'm going to quote, can we move to the next one, please? And here I'm going to quote a great man who I think is, like the father of retail, and I wouldn't want to name him right now, but he coined a term called Tathastu, right? Quite some time back when I was working with them. And I kind of absolutely loved it. What is Tathastu? What does a customer want today? The customer is in a position to, say ki mujhe ye chahiye, and we should be able to say Tathastu, right? Whatever she wants, whenever she wants, and wherever she wants. So any brand or any service will have to ensure that wherever the customer is for them, wherever the customer wants to see the brand, wants to see the service, we have to seamlessly ensure we make ourselves available. So that is something where the customer, whether it is in customer experience, whether it is in product availability, whether it is in the time of delivery, whether it's in any of these. That's right. Someone mentioned Mr. Kishore Biani. That's right. That's the term he coined, and I think it's going to remain in the history of retail forever. The other thing that he mentioned was that we talk about market segmentation, right? We're doing a lot of data. We are using a lot of data. We are sending text messages to customers, whether it's offline. We're asking them to go buy different things. But I think the customer is moving to a situation where they don't need to be segmented as 40-year-old male living in, say, Maharashtra. They want to be segmented at a n equal to 1 level. They want to be segmented as Soma Maitra, a family of 4 living in, say, an X place, likes to buy this kind of fish, or shops on the 3rd day of the month, or whatever. So can technology ensure that you can personalize whatever I want to my level, to n equal to 1 level? I think this is where the industry is moving. This is what the customer wants today. And if through technology, through our customer experience, through our ethos as a brand or a service, if we're able to just do these things, I think we are going to get there. So today's customer is omni-channel by design, and the brand or service has to seamlessly make themselves available to the customer. And this is something I strongly believe. So all this sounds good, right? The Tathastu, personalization, seamless omni-channel, making yourself available across the board, irrespective of offline. You can't say, I'm going to go off offline. You cannot, because most of the offline brands are going online and all the online brands are going offline. And both online and offline brands are now going assisted. They're getting to assisted spaces, right? And we'll talk about it a little later. Can we move to the next one, please? Right. So when we talk about unified customer experience, how do we do this? And all I can tell you, there's no straight answer. This cannot be answered in like 10 minutes. But what I would like to leave you with, and what we've been practicing for years now in all of my experiences with the customer, is we are ensuring that we keep our ego aside as an organization. We keep our ego aside as CXOs. We keep everything aside. All we do is listen to the customer. They will tell us what to do. And when I say listen, I'm not saying hear the customer, but listen to the customer. How do we invest more and more in listening to the customer? No, not just a research, not just a quantity research. Can we do more quality research? Can we have senior people in the team listening to everything the customer has to say, not just a few questions we throw at them? Can we listen to the nuances of what they are not telling us, or what is between the lines? So I see this as a huge piece in being able to design a customer experience, which the customer will be really happy to see. And trust me, the customers are ready to talk. They are happy to talk. And I'll give you a few examples where, we did some of this. We delved into this, listened to the customer, and we had, a few people giving us some solid inputs. And we made those changes in our current system. And that was fantastic, right? And that was pure play from consumer insights. Second, and I joke about this, and I've done this in the past, and I can give you personal experience. I have a certain taste in, say, home decor, right? And when we were selling general merchandise or deciding on an assortment, I would cringe at a few products and say, "Ye to nahi chalega," "Ye to acha nahi hai," right? And I think someone nudged me. This was a few years ago, and said, "Listen, the customer's not you. The customer is not your friend, is not your partner or your colleague. Ask the real customer, what do they need?" Right? So we very often, we place ourselves in the customer's shoes when we may not even be that customer. right? So it is very critical that we understand who the customer is, and how do we ensure that the real customer tells us what he or she wants, and what is the best way of doing it. And I can give you a quick tip, because we don't have forever, and it is we allowed to fail quickly. If you ever come across something that you feel may work or may not work, go and pilot it in a few places. The cost of a pilot is way lesser than failing in the long run by trying something. So without a thought, without thinking how execution will happen, go pilot that in a couple of places. The customer will tell you in like 15 days. And if it's an online space, the customer will tell you in like 7 days. And if it's an online space, offline space, you'll get to know in 15 days if the customer thinks what you're thinking of is right or wrong. Then the next one is, so if I can just summarize, listen to the customer, strongly believe, ask the real customer. Let's not assume. And learn about the day in the life of our customer. So if we want to build a customer journey, it is very important to understand what does the customer do? How is the life of the customer? What are the issues that the customer is facing? What are the challenges? How can we ease the life of the customer in some way or the other? So it is very important to us understand the journey of the customer. We possibly do it in a very tactical, processed way, but I'm saying for once, leave your caution out. Just look at the product, look at your customer, ask the customer, listen to the customer, learn from the customer, put yourself in the shoes of the customer and the journey of the customer. And then finally, do what the customer asks for. And we have been surprised, and we have been pleasantly surprised to see when we did things which we did not want to do, but the customer asked us to do. It really clicked. It really did well. So, that's a policy within our organization and my team, where we do not make any assumptions before we go do pilots. We just go into a pilot thinking there's 50% chance for us to fail in the pilot. Can we please move ahead? Right. So, and here, how do we do all of this, right? Technology, I think, I'm sure a lot of you here are from technology, and trust me, technology is the only way where we can scale, only way we can do all of these things, through artificial intelligence, through machine learning, through every other tool of technology which is coming and which is fast moving. The only thing, which is my request, and I have seen this, again and again, I'm asked very often, how much are we using, machine learning into our customer experience? How much are we using AI? We are using everything. We have to use everything, but don't throw it in the face of the customer. The customer doesn't understand. For the customer, the moment we throw these words into their face, it becomes very clinical. What the customer is looking for is to be able to feel emotionally connected to the product. Indians are emotionally connected consumers. They love it. Some of them love speed. Us, all of us who are working professionals, we don't have time. We walk into a store, we buy a product, and we come out. We don't have the time for someone to, come and speak to us, etc. Right? But the larger customer has time, wants to feel connected. Just think about it. We have these kirana stores, and think about how our parents have shopped. They have gone to that kirana store or the mom and pop store for the last, say, 20 years. The kirana store owner, who's an entrepreneur, knows your parents' name, their children, if someone's gotten married in the family, or what kind of rice do they like. They know all this. And that is why our parents are so comfortable going back to the kirana store. And very often we are very comfortable doing that, because that place understands us. That place is intuitive. So my question is, when we get into the digital space, or when we get into modern trade space, how do we ensure technology empowers our frontline teams to be able to speak this language? These people don't know. Our frontline teams haven't been running that store for the last 10 years. They don't know a Sharma ji, they don't know a Gupta ji, they don't know anyone, right? But is there a way that we can trigger information to this frontline individual standing in the storefront, or someone bot on the e-commerce platform or anywhere for that matter, who goes and asks some questions which just build that connect. What if someone walks into our retail store and we don't know this person, and you go and say, Miss Gupta, you haven't come in for the last 15 days, and you've seen it on your app, right? On your platform, and there is a way that when the customer walked in, there was a trigger. So all that the customer wants to know is if you're going and asking them how they feel, they haven't come in for the last 15 days, or the fact that, the kind of rice that you like has come back, right, which wasn't available last time. If technology can do this, and people are trying to do this with technology, I think that is what is going to connect all of this together. And for this, we will have to have a very clear technology backend, but in the front end, and for the customer, and for the very simple retail associate on the storefront, they don't need to know so much. They just need to know the front end functionality. So there's a customer service executive, who is in touch with the customer. So these are all touch points of customer experience. There is a delivery person who comes to your house. There is a associate at the store. These are all your touch points, other than your fancy app being a touch point, where of course you improve the experience and everything. But if your delivery associate comes and gives you a bad experience, we will not like it, right? Everything gets marred. So I feel that customer experience is a function of every touch point. Can we move to the next slide, please? Yeah. So the customer experience is, a function of each and every aspect of the touch points that a person has. Before we move to some stories from the industry, and I see I have, I think, 15 minutes to share stories before we open it for questions. I'd like to read out, and this is another great gentleman, who is also my current boss, and I've taken his permission to quote him on something he talks about technology. Right, he's a huge proponent of technology. He's IIT, IIM, the most learned individual. But this is what he has to say about technology, and I'd like to share that with you guys. I will read it out verbatim so that I don't miss it. So, technology has to be a wheel. All tech, all systems, all processes, and all current ways of doing things are like a great pair of wheels. They are very important if you want to go far, and if you want to go safe, then you will need all of these. But two things to remember. You never allow the wheels to decide where you're going. The purpose of the business is always human. Purpose of the business is imagination and driven by a sense of purpose and passion. The wheels do not decide where we are going, right? Our purpose decides where we are going. The wheels are just something which will augment this trip at the back end. Ensure what the customer is asking for, we are able to deliver. Second, however sophisticated, branded, premium the wheels are, we will never wear them on our head. They have a very important place, but not in the head. As long as we keep these two things in mind, we can handle any level of sophistication as a means to a larger business purpose that all of us harbor. So this is about technology, where technology is super critical. We cannot scale without it. We cannot bring an experience without it. But the purpose cannot deter. And the purpose is emotional. The purpose is connected. The purpose is doing good, building trust in our consumers about our brand or our service. With this, I'd like to move to some of the stories from the industry. And these are personal experiences. I'm happy to share these, right? And I'll tell you how we got to this, and it is not something we learned overnight. We failed, and that is how we learned. So a couple of quick ones. India, as a family, when they shop online, say when you go to an Amazon, right? In a typical family, and this happens in my family or some other family, if I'm the one who is, shopping, there are people in the family. My child wants to order something, right? My husband wants to order something. My help says that namak khatam ho gaya hai. right? Like that, there are different people in the family who are placing, who want something. And if my e-commerce platform, it's going to be very inconvenient for me to, keep taking a list from everyone, filling it up. So we figured this. We spoke to, as I was mentioning, we spoke to some very interesting consumers, and we figured that this was an issue. And the answer that came up from them was, why can't we have a Netflix model of ordering on any of our apps? Which means that, you know how the family system works in the Netflix, right? So there's a primary consumer, and then there are different people. You have, you can add your spouse, your child, your friend, your family, whatever, right? And all of them have certain rights. So what if on an Amazon or on our JioMart platform, we can have something like this, a family platform where people can order. Even my help should be able to go place an order. And how does she place an order? Because maybe she cannot type, or she doesn't understand this. Can she, just use voice to add a product? So this is just one of them. What customer understanding or customer, listening to the customer can do for customer experience. So imagine next time you're shopping, you just have to pass a link to your family and they can add whatever they want. And you finally approve of that and send it out for ordering, right? So I'm just trying to tell you how customer experience will only improve if we understand the real woes of the consumer. The next, another thing which we figured out, and this is very, for all the working professionals here who are working from home, this is like a perennial problem. You're sitting and doing a meeting in the day, and suddenly you've placed an order for grocery or whatever, or for something, and the delivery gentleman calls you and tells you, "Aapka ghar nahi mil raha hai." Right? Kaun se floor pe aana hai? Stuff like that. And you can't leave your meeting and you can go do that, right? You can't answer the call. If you don't answer the call, they will not come and deliver the product to you, right? So again, this came from consumers, that is there a way that we can text the delivery person? Or at that time, if I know I am not at home or I'm busy, can I just add my, somebody else's number in the house who's available at that time? Maybe my driver's number, or maybe my help's number. Yeah. So can we do something like that where, they can talk, the delivery person gets a trigger that call this number? Or is there a way that I can just SMS to the delivery gentleman instead of doing this? And we went out and we are adding an alternate number into JioMart now, right? So we did not imagine these, because for us, and I'll give you another funny situation where I'm saying that the customer is not me or my spouse, right? When we were discussing this in a group, in a larger group, where the other people do not order groceries themselves, somebody else does it for them, they said, this shouldn't be a problem. We should be more planned. And we said that you're not the consumer. The consumer is someone else. We have to listen to the right consumer. You're not even our audience for this, right? You don't order groceries. Someone else does in your house, right? And we are talking to that person, right? So these are just a couple of examples. The third one being best practices from mom and pop stores. I think I touched upon it a little while ago, where I mentioned that the beauty of the mom and pop stores is the connectedness that they make us feel. They know what rice we buy. They are in a position where I can just use voice and send them a voice note on WhatsApp, and they'll deliver the product to me. I can scribble in bad language. I can take a picture and I can send it out to them, and they'll deliver it. I can make a phone call and I can get all of this, right? So can we pick up some of these nuances? And yet they will ask us that, madam, aap wo wala chawal khate hain, wo to aapne liya nahi, right? That intelligence which comes from knowing the consumer, right? So can we pick up some of these best practices and put it into the e-commerce platform in some way or the other? Can we put it in our offline store, phone e-commerce space, right? The other one that so I'm just leaving a few triggers for you to think, because we don't have that much time. I would have gone on and on because these are my favorite topics and I've been working on all of these. This is Costco membership model, which we also ran in Future Group when I was running the membership model for small formats. And we did a very interesting pilot. We said that, and what I was just talking to you all about, can we have a relationship manager at a store where when someone walks in, and we had members, so we had people who paid a subscription. This is not a loyalty program, but a membership program. It's like a Amazon membership for the year, right? So you come in, you get a certain discount, and since you're a member, we have some data. We have your data. We know what you've bought. We know what kind of family size you have through your surrogate data, etc. So can this relationship manager have a tab? And when this member walks in, can we call them by their name, address them by their name? And, maybe 2 or 3 questions. Again, we have to be very careful. We cannot be too, to get into too much of privacy, etc. We have to ensure that the person is comfortable, right? How do we teach the frontline person to be able to do that? So we did a beautiful pilot there. We hired relationship managers, and it was beautiful. We've had some great experiences. Someone mentioned Ola, Uber. All of these guys, even I just saw it in Swiggy the other day. This alternate number thing has come in. But when we were talking about it, I did not see it in any of the apps till then. So I'm sure they have done their study and they've started adding it to their interfaces, right? So that's what I'm saying. People, we have to listen to our customer. The most beautiful experiences are built where we are listening to our customer and we are doing things which the customer connects with or feels happy about. The next one, which I'd like to talk about is voice, handwritten notes, image, language, which I again briefly mentioned. Can e-commerce or offline or phone commerce or assisted detailing or metaverse ensure that for the larger Indian audience, way beyond the 10% or the 8% of the e-commerce user, someone like my mom, someone who is not comfortable with typing on an app, someone who is not well educated, someone else maybe, someone who's comfortable with voice, can all of them start using e-commerce in different ways, maybe in assisted forms? Can we build an experience? And can you imagine in a country like India, how much of digitization that can create for us? And we know, even I just put up a couple of posts on LinkedIn the other day where it always amazes me how we speak to our carpenters who are not educated. How do we communicate on WhatsApp? They send us pictures. They write to us in Hindi. They send us voice notes, right? And the communication happens. The transaction happens. Everything happens. Can we bring these simple things as an experience, which is intuitive, which is connected into the digital space? Can we take out the whole inhibition of the digital space and say it is only for this part of the audience? And I think that is when we have built a great experience, right? Assisted models, which I'm constantly talking about. So imagine, and I think we did this some time back, but that was a little ahead of its time, and we're doing it again, where we say that, someone who's not very comfortable placing orders on e-commerce, why aren't they comfortable? There's certain reasons. They feel that, if they pay online, paisa kahan chala jayega, they don't know. They've ordered a product, the quality is not good. They don't know how to return that product. And when they have to call someone, again, I told you, India is a do-it-for-me economy. When they call, it's a call center. They're not comfortable speaking to, there's no human being, right? They don't see a human being in front of them. So we said that to address a larger audience, what if we have something like an assisted model? There is an individual who's an entrepreneur, and what this person does is just the connection between your e-commerce platform and between the customer, a customer who doesn't use e-commerce, a non-digital native, right? Can this person just go and ensure that this non-digital native also benefits from the entire spectrum of choice that a digital native has today to buy? Right? Can they get those discounts? Can they get those great products? Can we democratize this whole thing for them? Right? And, we are piloting something interesting. I can't tell you this yet, but I think if we can crack that, it will be great for a way larger audience, right? Another thing which from the industry, which is going to improve, customer experience, is tech-aided call centers. So today, when we, imagine calling a call center, I get really bored calling a call center because half the time it's a practiced monotone in which they talk, and half the time, and very understandable. If you have to scale something, you cannot do anything, right? Is there a way to use technology, again, like the relationship manager space, where we can aid our frontline call center people with some information when the caller calls, some information where, callers calling from Delhi, and intuitively this person gets a trigger saying temperature is 45 degrees. So they start the conversation with, it's really hot. I hope you're taking care of yourself, right? So can we use technology in all of these spaces which are, need to be scaled, where we cannot have one-on-one relationships, but can technology and smarter ways of using technology help us in doing that? Right. And last but not the least, I'd like to share, there were certain discussions on what kind of technology should we use for customer experience at the store. We have the best of it. We have Amazon Go, which is not in India at the moment. We have self-checkouts. We have various things, in one of our stores, which is Fresh Pick, which is the new gourmet store that we have in BKC. We've brought in self-checkout. So you can, buy all your products, check out yourself and move out. But can I tell you a secret? And this is the fun part, right? While we have to have self-checkouts, while we would love to have stores which are fully automated and without any kind of practice, can you give me a percentage of how many people coming to Fresh Pick, which is a gourmet store where most of the people who come are digital natives, what percent use self-checkout? Can I just have a chat number? 10%? Okay. 14%. So sub 15% is what you're saying, right? Great. 50%, 10%. Great. So yes, it is sub 50%. It's possibly 7 or 8%. And the larger thing to know is even these 7 to 8% people, when they go to check out at the counter, which is the self-checkout counter where they're supposed to scan themselves and walk out with the product, they want assistance. And trust me on this, right? And it's fun, right? I mean, it's available in India. We're living in a country where we can do this. We can be assisted. Having said that, do we want to take off the self-checkout counter? No. Do we want more modernization in the next store? Of course, yes. Do we want more technology? Of course, yes. Right? Why? Because the country is going to build towards that. We have to help the country to string towards that. It is not available today. And what we have to understand is just putting some technology there is not going to help. You please put the technology, but make the person comfortable in order, to get out of that inhibition of not being able to use it. I mean, it is important for us to help them go through all of that, right? So these were some of the thoughts that I had, and I think, Dr. Chaudhary, I've bang on time, 15 minutes for questions.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Soma. And with your permission, let's dive into questions section, right? And have sufficient time for them. The first question is from Mr. Balaji Naika, and his question is, hello, ma'am, how efficient today's technology is to take up every customer insights into transfer through a digital medium, since it's absolute and very challenging. What kind of initiative from your end by futuring or forecasting about customer needs? Thank you, Balaji.
Thank you so much, Balaji. Very good question. India is full of data scientists. India is full of great people in technology. And we are collecting immense amount of data. I used to work for Future Group. We were known to collect great amount of data. And trust me, all of this is possible. You can collect insane amount of data, keeping security in mind, of course, keeping a check on security. So you don't really have to collect primary information, too much primary information, which is intrusive. Just from your shopping pattern, one is able to get surrogate information, and you can tell, certain things about the consumer. Let me tell you one thing, Balaji. as I said before, I am a firm believer that you don't need to throw too much of information at the customer. The customer is a simple person. They just need to feel connected. They just need to feel that if they're looking for an offer intuitively, it is just thrown at them, right? So that much of data is available. And trust me, the caliber that India has to collect that kind of data, we can do rocket science, but we don't need that amount of data. We should just be prudent again about what is our purpose, and just do that much data very effectively and ensure that our frontline touch point knows this, right? Not the CXOs, the frontline touch point knows this. If I have answered your question. Yeah.
Thank you. The next question is from Samit Goshal. And his question is, good evening, ma'am, how to ensure that the online product delivered is 10% a quality product in one go? We did not have the refund policy. Very interesting thought, Samia.
Excellent. Soumya, right? That's the name you mentioned. Yeah, great, Soumya. I mean, trust me, I have worked on the supply chain space a little bit from a project perspective. And trust me, if we can do that, we've achieved nirvana. But there's several challenges in our country. And I can tell you how hard our back-end teams or supply chain teams across all industries work. Unfortunately, we have too many variables in our country, too many, issues with traffic, roads, etc., inventory, something or the other going wrong. While we are trying to build processes, while we are trying to build everything around that, which we should do on the side, the only thing right now to give customer comfort is to listen to the customer. Just think about it. If I haven't received a product, my larger anger is not at not receiving the product. My larger anger is when the customer service team doesn't give me the right information. When someone who's told me I will call you back at 7 p.m., they don't call me back. Even if they call me back at 7 p.m. and just tell me that this has been the problem, or the delivery person has gotten sick, I will understand. I'm a human being. Right. So while that has to be built, and trust me, I don't have an answer as to how we can strongly build a supply chain backend. I mean, it has too many variables and there are many experts. But what I believe is be honest to your consumer. Tell them, how it is as it is. Right. And they will understand. They will be with you. They will understand. So that's my take on this.
Thank you. And here is a question from Durga Prasad. And his question is, finally, what is the percentage of people using digital medium to purchase groceries? Is it only in urban market or is it so even in rural? Thank you, Durga Prasad.
Thank you, Ganga. Thank you so much. So again, I'll just differentiate it between mediums. So, my first question, which triggered a lot of answers, where I said, talked about phone commerce, etc. That is huge. Post-COVID, that is crazy. 80% of the grocery business possibly moved to a telephone call or a WhatsApp, right? With the Kirana stores, right? But overall, if you ask me, there is no correct ballpark figure in grocery yet. But as an organization, if I can tell you, we are at we're doing extremely well. About 6-7% of our typical customers who shop from us offline and online are already buying online with us. And it is increasing every day. And the other point is they are not, because we've opened other channels for them. We've opened, phone commerce for them. We've opened different mediums. If they look at that larger spectrum, that is larger. But if pure play e-commerce, where they go place their order by themselves, that will be about 8 to 9%.
And here is a question from Mr. Sham. And his question is, what a traditional or small business should do when they don't have digital medium? Thank you, okay. Sham.
Thank you, Sham. Do you mean as e-commerce, for e-commerce or for customer experience?
I think if I'm right, if I
Both?
can read, I think they're limited by the resources to having access to the.
Got it. Perfect. WhatsApp use karo yaar. Use WhatsApp for business, nothing like it. Trust me. So, don't think too much. It's just hygiene for some people. Just have to find you. Just ensure that if they're looking you up or if they need to buy you, there's a simple link which even takes you to their WhatsApp for Business account. They don't care, right? Use basic stuff. I mean, it's just it's your customer and you. What are the different touch points in which the customer can connect with you? That's it. So don't bother. WhatsApp for Business, use Facebook Marketplace, use any of these which are not expensive at all. Most of them are free. And people are doing that. Just, and I'm sorry if I'm sounding like I'm trying to give you gyan, but a strong believer in stick to your purpose. Stick to what the customer wants. Stick to, what is the customer, why should the customer buy your product? Why do you exist? How should the customer buy your product? Good enough. And invest in that. Just invest in that.
And here is a second question from Balaji. His question has got to do with, I think, great, something like what he said, purpose. And his question is, what are the green initiatives from the e-commerce side, as packaging involves huge plastic and corrugated boxes, damage-free consignment to satisfy customers? This will invariably damage our Mother Earth, and disposing of plastic will be a big challenge. Thank you, Balaji. It's a very sensitive question.
I love this question, Balaji, and I'm so glad you brought it up, right? Unfortunately, when you have to marry, commerce with purpose, there are these clashes which will come up. Having said that, and we are also, what we have begun doing is we just started this as a pilot. We are taking back all the packaging material that we supply. So our reverse logistics picks has in certain places, because we're still piloting this. So for now, the best thing is ensure, even if you have to use plastic, because you and I know that the costs are so immense, and I don't have a straight answer till we are in a position to, create material which is really good, which is safe, which is not expensive, which is sustainable. But till such time, can we pick up all the packaging material that we deliver? Can we reuse them? Can we repurpose them? And we've started doing this. Many other organizations have started doing this. And we have to see how we are able to scale it. I completely agree with you. That is something most of these organizations are seriously thinking. It's not easy. Trust me, it is not easy. Because, they also have to marry their top line. They also have to believe. Yeah, exactly. So most of these people have started using, but the problem with paper bags is, when you have a 25 kg chawal, you can't give it to people in a paper bag. You'll have to use different material. So these are the, practical issues that we face. So in that case, just pick up the packaging material, recycle it. But all of this costs money. Yeah, someone said promote with reward points. You read my mind. We are trying to do that in our pilots. We are trying to do this. We are trying to incentivize even the delivery person, because the delivery person's life is really tough, right? We said, can we, incentivize that? I'm sorry, I'm just being able to catch a couple of comments and not the others. So yeah, over to you, Dr. Chaudhary.
And this is a question, a very interesting question from Dr. Kalpana Dixit. And her question is there any tool to identify customer need analysis?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Is there any tool to identify customers' need analysis?
Dr. Kalpana, right? Dr. Kalpana, there are several tools available. If I can tell you again, there are a lot of tools available which are very academic, and I think the world has moved to something called design thinking, where, the biggest mistake we make, and we've made it all the time, and I have made it several times, and I'm trying my best not to make it, is when you're sitting with your team and you're deciding on, figuring out what the customer wants. Even in those questions, we have our preconceived notions. And when we're asking those questions, we say, if the customer says this, I don't have a way of going and doing this. So let me not ask the customer this question. So I think, just being a little more qualitative, there are a lot of qualitative research organizations today who, and there's some startups which are very interesting, which are doing qualitative research. They listen to the entire conversation that the person is having without asking questions, because the moment you ask questions, you're triggering thoughts, right? Again, Dr. Kalpana, for smaller, you can do these as pilots. I understand you cannot do it for a very large business, but when you're just trying to get some information which you really want to know, which builds purpose, which builds real customer insights, I am a big proponent of doing qualitative research in a design thinking manner with less number of people, with senior people, thought leaders being a part of that, understanding the entire thing. When I say thought leaders of the organization, and trying to understand what the customer is saying. So I think for it to be effective, I would always go for these kind of, genuine listening than tools. Tools we will use later once we have, some base information. That's my take.
Thank you. This is a question from Mr. Nilanjan Das, and his question is, Soma, what do you suggest to gain comfort of the client to engage more in the digital platform in respect to investment and insurance segment, as the penetration is very low in this segment in India? Thank you, Nilanjan.
Nilanjan, great question. And, I had this little stint with insurance, but besides the point, as I said, what could work and, what even we are trying, actually the penetration is less everywhere and more so in fields like insurance, where people find it risky, right? Please try the assisted channel where, you already have the agency leaders, right? And you already have the agents who sell insurance. What if these agents learn to help people, do this on an assisted mode? I don't know who that will be, but can you have a middle person who's helping someone go do this online? And once you have someone assisting this person, it's like a mehuna, So say if you're doing bank insurance in your bank, when you're doing this for them, you can tell them that, you can do this online. And if you have a problem, you can talk to me. And in the future, after they've done once or twice, what might happen is that they will start doing it themselves. That's the hope we will have, that they will start doing it themselves, right? But it's a good try to have. It's a good try to push them from all sides. Give them the comfort of one mehuna.
I think here is I would say, more of a feedback for you, Soma. And this is from Sham. And the feedback is, hello, ma'am. Why Reliance Geo Groceries not thinking for delivery time? Currently, it is taking too much time.
I agree. But only thing I can tell you is GeoMart was born during pandemic in 2 months, because we needed to take care of the market. And it was a huge struggle. Trust me, we were not planning to launch so early. It was done within 2 months. And the only thing I can tell you is the kind of effort that our frontline teams had to go and do. And trust me, every day we are trying to improve the experience. And, I'm sorry if you faced bad experience, but genuinely trust me that the most people, and I'm in touch with them, including our chief customer officer, and they take these things very, very seriously. And it'll take some time, but we'll get there. But the intent is very clear. We want to, be there for the customer. Trust me on this. Yeah.
Not only the intent, you have all the resources backing you up.
Yes, I think intent is more important than the resources,
Absolutely.
So I think the intent is there too. I think that is, yeah.
I think because having said that, because of the kind of pedigree and that Reliance comes from, I think they have access to.
Yeah.
I think they are not just the best possible technologies, but as well as the best minds in the world in terms of retailing.
Yeah.
This question is
and the intent is, the intent is to ensure, being there for the customer. So,
absolutely. Yeah. This question is from Ashish Maitra, and quite a long one. Respect, ma'am. Why still grocery is still economical as just made an list and request the Kirana merchant to send the same vis-a-vis going online or mall or super bazaar, going expensive. And is it ethical expiry, 6 months, in 6 months after expiry at the store? Then why this super bazaar and mall people selling the material to Kirana merchants? I
Okay,
think quite.
I did. If I just understand the question correctly, are they saying that the Kirana stores should be allowed to deliver products? I didn't get the question. Why aren't we doing that? Why aren't we letting them deliver?
Yeah, his question large is that why is it still economical to go to a Kirana stores than when you go to any other retail format?
Okay. Got it. So that's the first question. So I'll answer the first question.
Sure.
I mean, I don't want to go on record, but most of the modern trade stores sell way below MRP. Grocery is a very low margin category. It is not like garments, etc., where you can do 60%, 70% off. The margins are really, really small, right? And all the modern trade stores, just because of their scales and volumes, can do, they go below MRP. So go to any of our stores and other stores, it'll always be economical. Just do a apple to apple comparison, because you can't say chawal yahan itne mein milta hai, yahan pe wo milta hai. Kaun sa chawal, kya chawal is critical. Having said that, the kirana is a huge part of our digitization journey. We cannot go without them. So all of us, including Reliance, we have, we just have to ensure we empower the kirana stores. They become our last miles. They become people who are helping us in this entire journey of ensuring every pin code in the country is serviced. So it's a journey together. It'll never be a journey which is without the kirana store. That's one of our touch points, and for everyone, and we'll have to accept that. So that, and if someone is selling expired products to kiranas, they are making a huge mistake. Please take it up. They are absolutely not supposed to. That's unethical. The organization doesn't want that. Somebody is doing it. They need to be called out.
Absolutely. This is a question from Mr. Ajit Jaiswal, Soma, and his question is, ma'am, digitization has brought revolution in pharma industry, but the quality and genuinity of products is a big concern. What are the government policies and laws to counter the same? Thank you, Ajit.
Ajit, I am really not the right person to answer this. But I don't think I know exactly what are the policies, so I won't want to make a comment which is incorrect. All I can tell you is larger organizations, one like Reliance and many others, even organizations I've worked for in the past, when we buy fruits and vegetables, etc., from our farmers, I'm talking about fruits and vegetables at the moment, we we buy the entire produce, we help them with technology, we keep a check of what they are doing, etc. So most of these organizations which are established and decent, they do this. So they do not compromise on quality. Controlling at the level of the farmer, I really don't want to comment, because the farmer, that's a totally separate industry. So excuse me. If anybody else has the answer, you can share that. But all I can tell you, larger organizations like ours partner with farmers. We have about 40,000 odd farmers who we support. We buy their produce. We help them with technology. We ensure they don't need to, mess up with their quality, etc. Because we understand prices of commodities will change. So sometimes a month ago, we were selling avocados for $8.99. Today, we have to sell it for $12.99 because the whole cost has gone up. You can't help it. So we are not going to, make the farmer's life be in a mess for that. So that's it. So that is all I can comment about in this case. Yeah.
This is a question from Mr. Sharad Babu, and his question is, recently government is talking about ONDC, that is Open Network for Digital Commerce, consolidating all e-commerce players into a single platform. How can we visualize the customer experience transforming, aligning with this transformation? Thank you, Sharad Babu.
Thanks, Sharad. I think it is going to be very interesting. We'll have to see. To me, the larger question here is, and I don't know if you really need to aggregate right now or not for customer experience, because there will be an aggregator maybe, but there will also be these individual brands doing this. right? I mean, it's like Amazon of today, which is a marketplace, right? I mean, it's an aggregator at the end of the day. There are individual brands which sell on Amazon who also have their e-commerce platform. So we'll have to see which one, works better. People will still need to go into, all we can control as a brand or a service is ensuring our touch point is okay. We will not be able to control the larger aggregated touch point. So I would say we should focus on our own touch point, e-commerce touch point.
So, Soma, I think with your permission, I'll take maybe 4 more questions. I think we are running short of time.
Sure.
That's okay.
No problem.
This is a question from Dr. Fani Ratna. And his question is, why Indian-based technologies are not accepted by Indian customers? It is accepted only if it is Swiss-made or German-made or Japanese-made. Even though we meet international standards. And
I think...
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry. I think, it's a what can I say here? It's a mindset issue possibly, but all of us know all the best brains in the industry are from India, right? So we know that even if the technology is coming from Switzerland or Germany or anywhere, someone who's building it is an Indian. So I think, all I can say is us as, people, professionals, our children who will be next gen, let us all be confident about our product. That's the only thing we can do. You can change your little ecosystem. That's it. You can be a protagonist of great technology, talking about it in your ecosystem. I have learned the hard way. You can't change the world. You can change your ecosystem one person at a time. So I think if we believe in it, we should, in our organization, we should, prefer technologies which are made in India. And I can tell you, as Reliance or even in my previous organizations, we have been supporting entrepreneurs a lot. Indian entrepreneurs who are trying to do some good stuff. All we look at is the purpose, the passion, and the drive that they
have. Absolutely.
So organizations are doing that. Trust me. Pura mindset to hum badal nahi sakte, but organizations are doing that. I think we should all take responsibility doing that. That's it.
And next question is from Mr. Pankaj Kumar. His question is, in festival seasons, there are many discounts on e-commerce sites. At the time, customers are taking benefits from them, or the other sites as retail stores are getting losses. Because everyone is waiting for the big billion days. So we can say, can we say that due to e-commerce, our retail stores are getting losses?
A very, very interesting question. Yeah. And I think I didn't touch this point, which I actually wanted to, but I thought, maybe it's not a part of this. But you know what is here to stay and what is here to be seen is it is just not about, increasing valuation. A lot of organizations are just looking at increasing valuation. The organizations which will survive in the future are the ones who have created value. Right. And I very strongly believe in it. So for e-commerce, it's a tough space. It's competitive. Everyone is having to do these things because, you need customers, you need to answer your stakeholders, you need to answer your shareholders, etc. But what will need to be seen are who are these few people who come out with a solid business model, which is scalable, which is creating value for the customer, and somewhere down the line, it becomes profitable. And it'll, that will evolve. Today, we don't have an answer. But if an organization is trying to go towards that, my belief is that those are the organizations which will survive in the future. I don't even want to name a few organizations which came even 3-4 years ago and they aren't seen anymore, who were great, who were giving great discounts. So again, a firm believer, retail stores are here to stay. I mean, we have 2,000 stores today. We are building stores by the day. We are building e-commerce. There's a place for everyone. The Kirana stores are here to stay. I haven't seen a single Kirana store closed down. So there's a place for everyone. I think stick to our guns, stick to our purpose, give great service, listen to your customer, be intuitive, understand what the customer wants, deliver that. Utta karte dunya, the ones who are running after pure valuation will subside in the future. They won't be there. They can't sustain.
Absolutely. This is a question from Miss Chandrika Bhattacharya. Her question is a question that having your perspective on would be very helpful, ma'am. How to enhance customer experience in industries that are still nascent stage of maturity, especially digitally?
Oh, fantastic, fantastic question. I think you're the best space, because you have less customers. And I can, randomly give you examples of a few companies which I have seen and followed personally, and I've seen absolutely great customer connect and experience. And those were not always only about on e-commerce, how the UI is. Of course, it's a great UI, it's a good experience, etc. But it was about how they connected with me. What was the content that they put up? Did that connect with me? When I wanted to place an order and I wanted anything, was there someone to talk to me? How did they speak to me? Did the founders or senior people in the organization take time to speak to me? So if we are talking about an organization which is in a nascent stage, if I were to run something like that, I would spend 70% of my time as a founder just talking to the customers. And I believe this more and more every day. Everything else can be done by professionals. I just need to listen to my customer, right? And if your organization is at a nascent state, be it e-commerce or whatever, you have data, you have phone numbers, which you don't have in an offline store. Call them up. They are happy to talk to you. Trust me, they're so happy to talk to you, right? So just keep doing that and understand, what are they looking for, and speak to them. Tell them that we are new. This is what we're trying to build. Tell us what we should build. And if you talk to 50 people, you will know what they want out of you. It's a great opportunity.
Here is the second last question, for the evening, and this question is from Mr. Tharur Verma. His question is, hi, how can several Indian companies, route their way towards Amazon ways of building customer centricity? What changes do you foresee in your future, both from a service as well as digital perspective? Thank you, Tarun.
Great, thank you. So I think in Indian companies, we have to bridge the gaps of every touch point. Again, as I said, if your product or service is available in different platforms, if it's, I don't know what the product or the service is, so it's a little, broad, but all I can say is, where does, again, customer centricity come from? Can we map every touch point in your business? It starts from, who's the person building your product or service? That is where it starts. And it ends as, who is going to go and who's the human being going to go and deliver? What are the different places where the customer is going to be in touch with you? Could be on social media, could be digitally, could be what they see as your advertisement or your press release or your advertorial or any of that across the platform. And can we stick to one central purpose? And can we follow that central purpose? They should not feel that there is any disconnect in any of these spaces. So building customer centricity, again, as I said, we will need to know what our customer wants. And I'm sorry, I'm constantly saying this, but for me, that is the Bible. Just understand what your real customer wants, and from time to time and all the time, listen to the customer and make that change. Do not be, do not be arrogant. Be vulnerable. Understand what the customer is saying. And I think being humble, listening to the customer, doing as per what the customer says, making those changes quickly with agility. If we are able to do that, and Indian organizations, I've worked for a few great organizations, very often we aren't able to move the needle too quickly. Be agile, do that if the customer is asking. Don't do it by the time the customer has given up on us, right? So I think that is how we can build a customer centricity. And as people, Indians are very emotional and very connected. So within our organization, and another thing I would really like to share, if your purpose is, if the last person on the floor can, if you wake them up in the night and ask them what's the purpose of the organization, if they can say that and genuinely believe in it, I think we are sorted. I think that's where, we don't tell our frontline people the why of what we are doing. We think they won't understand, but they do. right? And I can give you a beautiful example. During COVID, we have retail stores, right? And we have these young boys and girls who were going and servicing the stores when everybody else was at home, right? And the cops, very often there were problems on the road because they didn't know they were going to the retail stores. These young kids would, the parents would say, don't go. And they would say, nahi, we have to serve the nation. And it gives me goosebumps when I tell you this, right? Those people showed such leadership because they knew, and we have a great leader. So that information passed on to these people. They had calls where they were told why we are doing what we are doing and how thankful we are that they are doing this, right? If they know it, they will do things for us. And that is where I think we miss out. Can we, the purpose, can we share shared purpose? And treating those people in the front line with that much respect, because they are the ones who are your touch points.
Thank you. And last question for today evening is very topical one from Mr. Abhijit Chowdhury. And his question is, what's your take on 10 minutes delivery model?
We're going to do that too, by the way. We have to do it. We can't help it because everybody is doing it. It's just making me lazy as a person because I'm less planned now, because I know I can get just a bread if I want it in like 10 minutes. I feel bad for the delivery people. It's just what the customer's asking. We will just wait and see how it settles down. That's all I can say. But, we are having to do it because we're having to compete with the market. All of us, we're doing it, right? We probably have to find a smarter way of doing this.
Absolutely. I think we couldn't
yeah.
I mean, thank you so much, Soma, and sincere apologies to all this. Some of the questions that we couldn't be, accommodating for today evening because we have overshot the time almost by 15 minutes now. And once again, thank you so much, Soma Maitra, and for all of you. I think the passion that you would have seen in Soma Maitra's, the delivery. You can imagine her passion in delivering the actual business mandates. And it is just, the tip of the iceberg, when she's talking to all of us on that one virtual mode. And like I said, she had, if those of you follow, or maybe I hope, some of you are already, connected with her. And those of you follow with her on LinkedIn, I get to see everyday updates and amazing thoughts, right? And like I said, in fact, I would, with her permission, say that she's absolutely a road retailer because she's all the time on the road. I don't know when she gets time to do other work, and especially on her social activities as well. Thank you so much, Soma, and quite insightful. Like I said, I think it's almost like retailing a landscape of this country, right? I think you have been there right from the time, when it is opened up, and working with somebody like Kishore Biyani, who is largely considered as the father of modern retail in India. And I think definitely you would have seen some of the best practices, like you said. You're working with some of the best companies, maybe membership model or royalty program model, etc. But thank you so much, Soma, and very distilled knowledge in just the shortest possible time, and it's always wonderful. And I look forward to hosting you very soon. And also, maybe we should have a some sort of a session on customer experience because if you put in a continuum, right, which is the most intense customer-facing industry and the least intense customer-facing industry, definitely you will find retailing being on the extreme part of the which therefore means that every participant, everybody in the world, whether it's somebody is educated, not educated, poor person, rich person, every person has some retailing DNA in him or her, right, throughout the world. So having said that, I think each one of us would have our opinion, most importantly experience part of it. And when I hear somebody like you talking so much about the kind of painstaking effort that each you and your team does, in terms of making sure that every touch point is very carefully and very thoughtfully designed, and also carefully woven into the larger experience, is a great deal. And therefore, thank you so much, and wonderful to have you. And sorry if you have taken a little part of your weekend, well-deserved weekend, but really wonderful having you, Soma.
Not at all. I absolutely enjoyed it, and thank you everyone for listening. Like a 45-minute monologue. I'm not sure if you got bored with that, but thank you so much, and really appreciate all of you joining in. And thank you, Dr. Chaudhary, for reaching out and discussing this. I absolutely had a blast. And thank you, Nandita, Manvi, and the team for doing all this. Very well managed. Yeah. And thank you, all the participants, all the very best, and best wishes.
Thank you so much, Soma. Soma.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Take care. Thank you. Thank you.